Hi, my name is Tatiana, and welcome to our therapeutic practice that is for people that have limited range of motion, flexibility, strength, and mobility, sometimes caused by illnesses such as multiple sclerosis, arthritis, stroke, injuries, and joint replacements, just to name a few. Our practice today will be about the lower back, and the focus of this practice is about creating a relationship to your breath, and by so doing, creating a relationship to your body and your mind and your heart. So we're going to start off. This is Yochai, very graciously has assisted me today. And we're going to start off in this particular practice on our backs. And Yochai, would you please take your legs, bend them? Now he's going to, this is specific to get into this pose, especially if you have some issues, you might want to do this way. So he's going to go on his side, take his right armpit right above the roll that we have behind there. And then he's going to lie on his back and keep his knees bent. And then he's going to just make sure that he's there, lower his head. There we go. And the palms will be up in this pose. So this is a long time we're going to stay in this pose right now. So what I want you to do is notice, Yochai, you're 2 inches above your roll, so come down. I want the roll to be right under your shoulder blades. Okay, the bottom tips of your shoulder blades. If you watched our last back bend in a chair, it's a similar thing. Now, the arm bones should be rolling back and down. And if his neck is like this, or your neck is like this, that means your roll needs to be a little bit lower. So we would get up and unroll the blanket a little bit, okay? Now, we settle here for a moment, trying to figure out if the body feels good. The neck is good, Yochai, and the lower back feels good. Okay, if he feels pretty good about all this, then he can now extend his legs straight ahead. And he presses the heels down and squeezes the legs together as if he were standing in his feet. So bring your feet together, pull your little toes towards your outer hip, little toes backwards, keep your inner edges touching. Good. So hopefully what we're feeling right here, if you're in this pose close to it, if your lower back's uncomfortable, keep your knees bent. If your upper back or your neck are uncomfortable, come out of the pose and lower your blanket. If it's not working for you at all, skip it and we'll move to the next piece after this one. All right, so right now, you can tell by the position of his chest, as the shoulder blades are coming together and the arms are extended, that the chest muscles are stretching. Now, the more he engages his legs, the more he's going to be able to extend out through his heels, which will lengthen the lower back. It's kind of like a modern rack, like in the medieval time, where they're pulling your legs in one direction and your arms in the other direction, but you're doing it yourself, and you're using your breath. So as we're going to use this as our opening piece right now, I'm going to ask Yochai and you at home to, as you breathe from up above, as if the breath were coming from up above you, straight down into the middle of your chest. Your heart, of course, is on your left side, but I'm asking you to breathe into what do we call the heart space. The heart space being right between the right and left side. You can visualize this as a stream of light flowing down into your heart. Inhaling for 5, bring the breath into the center of your chest, even all the way into the back of your chest, right between your shoulder blades. And with your exhalation from that space, breathe forward and up. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Letting yourself right now open to whatever is present for you, being totally in your body, keeping this relationship to your breath, to the subtle energy now in your body. What we're looking at is how we use our breath, the exhalation in particular, to release what's not needed. Sometimes it's thoughts, tension, emotions, anxiety, fears, grief, all the stuff that gets stuck in the body that we really don't need, that keeps us from being the best part that we can be, the highest of ourselves. So we use the breath, the exhalation in particular, to release, to let go of, to surrender. Now with your breath inhaling now, as you exhale, you're letting go, creating more space. What do you do with that space? You want to fill it with this breath. You want to fill it with this intention to be present with yourself. You want to open to life. You want to say, yeah, I want to be present in this body, even if it's ill or there's a problem or things got crappy. I want to be present, and I'm going to be as clear as I can in my breath. And whatever is not serving me, bad habits, patterns, let them go. Emotions that only keep you caught up in a mind that goes around like churning in circles, let those go. So we're going to take a few more breaths here for today's practice. You can also use this particular pose all by itself as a practice. Perhaps to work with emotion, perhaps to lift and lengthen and stretch the upper back, to open the chest. It's a wonderful, delicious feeling just to be in your own heart. So right now, for the last few breaths, as Yohai is breathing as if there were a stream of light coming down into his heart, illuminating him, illuminating his entire body, not only his heart. Perhaps he can set an intention right now for himself. Is what kind of relationship would you like to have with yourself? Now take a full breath in and a slow, gentle breath out. Bend your knees one at a time. Pause. Now gently roll onto your right side. If you have me around, I'll pull the bolster out for you, and if you don't, you'll have to do it yourself. And then please, Yohai, now roll back onto your spine. Take your arms by your side, Shavasana rotation. I'll explain that in a little bit. And I want you to see what it feels like. When the bolster is gone, it's going to feel better because there's so much more space there. It's just a freedom. Now make your feet as wide as your hip bones. There you go. And pause. Now there's a block right beside you. I'm going to reach for it. And I'm going to give it to him. Now he's going to press his feet down, lift his hips up, and now he's going to place the block either this high or even flatter if you need to, right under the sacrum. The sacrum is the large bone at the base of the spine. He keeps the feet steady. The knees don't go outwards like that, but you keep them in. He externally rotates, so that's outward with the upper arms, and pulls the shoulder blades towards the heart and then softens. And then, of course, you would be checking in with your body. Is this feeling good to you? Is there pain in the body? Is this creating a problem for you? If it is, you get out of the pose. But if it's not, now we're going to do another type of, same kind of thing we did with the heart. We're going to breathe straight down now into the pelvis. So that's the space between your pubic bone and your navel. And again, you can visualize, if you enjoy visualizing, a stream of light, of breath, coming straight down into the pelvic area. And exhaling from the center of the pelvis straight forward and up. And maybe 5 breaths like that. Inhaling for 5 seconds. Exhaling for 5 seconds. Really tuning into your breath. Tuning into the subtle energy that is your body, that is your breath, your mind, and your spirit. And what this particular physical posture does, even if you didn't do the breathing, it is very settling for the sacral area and very relieving to the lower back. So sometimes we can do these exercises and call them exercises, or we can call them poses and not call them yoga. But as long as you're breathing, it becomes then a different experience. So each of the things that we're doing today in this particular practice are for the release of pain and problems in the lower back and hips. Now he takes one more breath, fully conscious, present where he is. Letting go what's not needed. And as you're ready to leave this pose, press the feet down, lift the hips up, and I'll take the block away. And then lower the hips back down to the ground. Now, we're going to do something that we did in one of our classes earlier, which is to create a pelvic tilt. In my body right now, the hip bones are here. Can you place your 4 fingers on your hip bones so we can catch that from the side? So what we're going to do in my position is if I tip my pelvis forward, it looks like that. If Yohai tips his pelvis forward, his pubic bone will go forward. So go ahead and tip your pelvis forward. And then if you could see, there would be a space under his lower back where I can actually stick my hand. So that's creating, again, the pelvic tilt, lower back curve. Now, keeping his legs really strong, he's going to move the tailbone now, which is in the back, towards his navel, which is in the front. And that's going to flatten his back. Good. And not too much of anything. Don't overpower yourself. Just keep your breath flowing. Inhale, pubic bone forward, curve in the lower back. Exhale, curl the tailbone towards the navel, and the lower back flattens. So let's do 5 more of these. You can't do too many of these. They're really healthy for you. Those of you people that stand up on your feet all day long and push your hips forward, your lower back is losing its curve and flexibility. This is a wonderful way to do it. If not lying down at the end of your day or at the beginning, also in your chair. And he's just moving very sweetly and smoothly to his breath, keeping in sync. Sometimes we put a block right here to keep the legs steady, but he's doing really well with his legs, so I'm going to leave him alone. Okay, you can leave your hands off to the side now, and just tilting a couple more times. Inhale. I want you to really show me inhale whenever you get there. A nice, gentle curve, not too excessive. And exhale, round. And actually do 2 more for me, please. And if you do any regular type of yoga, this will look like cat and cow pose if you had your hands on the ground, knees on the ground. And finish up your last one with an inhalation and come to neutral. Breathing even and steady. Now I'm going to ask Yochai to please bring his right hand on his right knee and bring his right knee towards his chest. Keeping his left leg steady and his left hip from moving, I want you to please now rotate your thigh bone in its socket, like you're stirring a pot. See if you can keep your other hip, your left hip, from moving, and just create the movement like you're just turning inside the socket, which is really healthy for you, very much like our joint freeing series. And then go both directions. No, and use your other arm. Right now we're just isolating the muscles that we need to create this movement. A little bit his arm, mostly his arm is actually doing the work, and then everything else is just rotating. And one more time to both directions with your inhale and your exhale, even and steady. And he's really nice and relaxing here. And come to neutral now and pause right there. With your inhalation, straighten the leg up. And with your exhalation, bend the knee. Now he's going to do this 5 times, and so are you, maybe even more, because you're at home and you can do this as much as you want. So this might look to you like the joint freeing series, which is very good for you. And you'll notice Yochai has a hard time to straighten the leg, and that's okay. You don't have to straighten the leg all the way. But what you do want to do is stay even with your breath. And noticing that as you straighten the leg, that the front of your thigh, your quadriceps, are engaging to create strength. And when you bend the back of the thigh, the hamstrings are engaging. And conversely, when you're straightening the leg, the back has to stretch. And when you're bending the leg, the front has to stretch, which is making this all really nice and balanced for the joints, for the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments. One more time as you inhale, straighten. And then don't force yourself to straighten, but keep the leg straight. Press your left foot, keep your breath even, relax your right arm. Inhale with your next breath, point your foot. Exhale, flex. And a couple more times. If this is really hard for you and your leg is way down here and you're shaking and your lower back is not okay, then you can bend the right leg and just do the pointing and flexing. There you go. Good. Circle the ankle one more time in one direction. Exhale the other direction. Inhale, straighten the leg if possible or almost straight. Bend your right elbow on the floor, pull your palm up, and with your exhalation, let me adjust this one a little bit. With your exhalation, you're going to take your right thigh into the right hand, keeping the left hip down. Good. With your inhale, if you can, straighten the right leg to the side. If you can't, don't straighten it all the way. Exhale, bend. And 5 more times, 3 more times, let's say, and bend. You might notice right now, again, you're using the quads and the hamstrings, but you're also stretching the inner thigh muscles. So again, even though we're not doing the formal joint freeing series, we're still working all the muscles all the way around these joints. Good. With your inhale, straighten the leg up. Now bring the leg to center, but keep it externally rotated. That's right. And then cross the right ankle on the left knee. Pull the little right toe towards your outer right hip, outer right knee, and pause. When you're really tight in this pose, I'm going to show on Yochai's body, when you're very tight in the hip, the knee will be way over here. So he's pretty lucky. This looks pretty good on him. Hip bones stay even. With the exhalation, if you have the space, you can bring your left knee into your chest. You can hold the back of the thigh, but keep your head down. Pull the shoulder blades towards the spine. Stretch your little right toe to the outer right knee, even more. Stretch it, stretch it. Good. And like I asked him a little bit earlier, what's stretching right now? And that's a good place to be stretching. You're also looking for sometimes when something is very painful and it makes you want to run away from it, that's not an appropriate stretch. That's not an appropriate movement. So that you want to stay away from. With your next exhalation, place your left foot back on the ground. With your left foot pressed down, inhale, straighten your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee towards the chest. Inhale, straighten the right leg to the floor. Inhale, lift the right leg up, bend it on your way up. Exhale, bend it. Inhale, straighten it all the way to the ground, on the ground, on the ground. Good. Inhale, bring it back in. So he's doing it bending and straightening, bending and straightening, because that's less strain on the lower back. But if you're strong enough and your abs are strong enough, you can do it with the legs straight up and down. We'll do one more time like that. The last one, inhale, straighten the leg, leave it on the ground. Press the heel down, stretch the toes wide. Inhale, take your arms up above your shoulders. Pause, squeeze your shoulder blades gently towards each other. Pause, keep your legs steady and strong, and with your exhalation, take your arms back behind you. Now, if you have shoulder issues and you can't get your hands to the ground, we don't stay here too long. We might, if we were together in the same room, I would put a prop under your arms right here, but right now he's pretty comfortable. Now, as you keep your legs pressing into the earth, your curve is natural in the lower back. Your shoulder blades are softly into the back of your heart. Your head presses gently. You just take a gentle stretch out, right where you are. Inhale, bring your arms back up. Exhale, take your arms down to the sides, palms up. Good. Bend the right knee, please. And pause. You should feel at home right now, your whole right side, your right hip, something's a little bit different, a little bit more spacious. An advanced practice on this would be perhaps is noticing what do you need to release? Is it a muscle or is it an experience, a trauma? So that's a little bit along the way. All right, make your feet hip distance apart, please. And with your exhale, bring your left knee to the chest. We'll do the left side maybe a little bit faster. Left hand, left knee. Circle, stir your pot. Slow, but make circles. Notice if you're making circles or triangles. Does it matter? Sometimes it matters. Most times it's important, most important to breathe and listen to your body. Sometimes, like people say, what do you mean listen to the body? It doesn't really say anything. But sometimes it does. It says it wants to release what you don't need anymore. It says, this hurts me. You're pushing me too hard. So not only are you creating relationship to your breathing, to your breath, to your life force, but into the very subtlest parts of your body. A couple more circles, both directions. Stretch your toes. Engage all of your parts in this relationship. If you had a regular relationship with someone, you would want to know everything about them, especially if it was an intimate relationship like the one we have with our breath. Come to neutral. Now press your right foot down. Inhale, straighten your left leg up. We try not to turn the palms down because that makes tension. Exhale, bend. And continue a few more times with your pace of your own breath. Stretch the toes. You can scan your body as you go through the body and notice, well, am I clenching my butt? Am I clenching my tongue? Am I hunching my shoulders? And that, again, is that practice of coming into relationship with yourself. The last one, as you inhale, straighten. If it's appropriate, straighten. If it's not, bend it slightly. Point as you breathe in. Exhale, flex. And a couple more times with your own breath. And with your next inhalation, circle the ankle. If you're at home and you're finding that this is like really hard for you, you can wait just in another pose because we're going to move on to the rest of the practice anyway. But you're listening and you're breathing. Last one, inhale, lengthen the leg straight out, turn the foot open, bend the left elbow, palm will catch the leg, and like Yohai is doing, he bends the knee. Some people, they can keep the leg straight. It doesn't matter. Inhale, straighten the left leg. So I can look right at his toes right there. And exhale, bend. So let's say 3 times, 5 times. What do you have time for? How much time do you want to invest in having a relationship with someone as important as yourself? And perhaps listening inside. What needs to be released? What wants to be released? What do you need to surrender? An ego, an attitude, a pattern that doesn't work for you anymore? Last one, with your inhalation, straighten the leg. Keep the leg as straight as you can. Keep the toes externally rotated, and then bring the leg back to center and cross the ankle. Yeah, right over the knee. Pull the little left toe towards your outer knee. That keeps engagement. That makes all your muscles protect the joints. And as we did on the other side, we're just going to thread the needle, as it's called in regular practice class. Now, some people can't get their knee like this, so they would stay with the foot on the floor and just breathe right here. And Yohai's doing a wonderful job of keeping his upper back soft and his throat soft and his head heavy. And bring the right foot back down to the ground. So we're always kind of landing in a place where we can rest and feel. Now, as you press your right foot down, lift your left leg straight up. Stretch the toes, stretch the leg, keep the curve in the spine. Exhale, bend the knee to the chest. Inhale, straighten the leg to the floor. Press the heel down, because we can rest here. Inhale, relax your arms to the sides. Inhale, bring your left knee, in. Inhale, straighten the leg up. So you're following the breath. Do like a couple more times. When in general you get confused, which way should I be breathing, in or out? In general, when anything is opening outwards, it's an inhalation. And when it's coming close back into your center, it's an exhalation, in case you get confused. Last one. Inhale. Lengthen, next inhale. And exhale all the way down to the ground. When you get there, straight leg, straight left leg. Good. Press the heel, stretch the toes up. That engagement creates relationship to yourself, creates support for yourself. Inhale, plug your arms in, lift them up towards the sky, and exhale them back behind you. Take a nice stretch out from your pelvis, stretching out through your left leg, from your pelvis, stretching out through your fingertips. Feeling the length of your spine extending, letting your breath draw you deeply inwards. Inhale, bring the arms back up. Exhale, arms by your sides. Bend the left knee. Good. Now, we're going to move on to another place. And I'd like you to place your feet in or hip distance apart, in wider, there, from your hip bones. So we have done this pelvic tilt a few times. Would you show the pelvic tilt a couple of times? There's the curve, pubic bone goes forward, and then the opposite, tailbone goes to the navel. And then inhale to neutral. Okay? Now I'm going to place this block between his thighs again. See if it's not too narrow. I squeeze. Is that too narrow for you? Okay. If you can do this, when the way we're going to do it right now, you can do it again this way, or you can stay on the ground with your bum. All right? So press the feet, lift the hips up as you breathe in. Good. Now as you inhale, you're going to stay here for a while, so your thighs are going to work a little hard. As you inhale, move your pubic bone forward so you get a curve in your lower back. That's that way. Exhale, butt is up, curl the tailbone towards the navel. Inhale, pubic bone forward. Now I'm going to give him a little bit of help here. Exhale, curl the tailbone towards your navel. Inhale, curve in the lower back. Exhale, curl. One more time. Inhale, curve in the lower back. Exhale, curl the tailbone towards your navel. Now take a breath here. Stay with that. Exhale, lower your vertebra one at a time all the way to the ground. Till your butt's down, till your butt's relaxed. And this is a huge release on the lower back, sacral area, buttock muscles, lower back, waist. How are you feeling? Let's do it one more time, just so you can remember it. And then you can replay this. Let's do it together, though. Wait for me. Okay. All right. Press your feet. Keep your ground. Find your breath. Inhale, expand. Exhale, soften. Soften, soften. Don't curl your tailbone yet. Just relax. Neutral spine. Inhale, press your feet, squeeze your block, lift your hips. Good. Pause and keep breathing. Inhale, pubic bone towards the front of your mat, curve in the lower back. Exhale, tailbone towards your navel, lower back kind of flattens. Inhale, pubic bone forward. Exhale, curl the tailbone. Last one. Inhale, pubic bone forward, curve comes to the lower back. Exhale, curl the tailbone. Breathe, and with curling the tailbone into the navel, keep it there. Exhale, lower your vertebra. Whenever the exhale comes, release all the way down. Come to neutral spine. Breathe deep, steady, even. And then I'm going to take his block. How you feeling? So polite. All right, let's bring one knee at a time into the chest. And then hold your knees and pull them in tight. So when you bring your knees in this tight, if you really pull them in, you'll lose the curve in the spine, and that's okay, as long as you know where the curve is. All right? Now keep your right knee to your chest and straighten your left leg to the floor. Now you've seen this in a classic yoga class. Push your left heel down, stretch your left toes up. This is a practice of engaging in a relationship. It's not like somebody you love and then you just don't pay attention to them. You really pay attention to your breath and all of your parts. So very gentle stretch movement right here. Very gently, let's switch the legs. And bring the left knee to the chest. Okay. And inhale. And with your exhale, straighten your left leg to the floor. Keep both legs straight. Press the heels, squeeze the legs. Keep a pubic bone moving towards the front of your mat. So I want a curve in your lower back. Squeeze your legs more, make your legs more active. Flex your feet like you're standing on them. That's right. Feel the difference in your lower back, right? Now inhale, lift the arms up, plug them in, and as you exhale, lengthen them back behind you. And if you're watching the camera, watching your video rather, you can notice right now, it looks like a handstand, and it feels like a handstand. It's the biomechanics of a handstand. So even though we might have setbacks in our physical health and we can't do handstands, you're doing one right now. This is exactly what it feels. Would you agree with that, Yochai? Okay. Inhale, bring your arms back up, and exhale them by your sides, palms up. And inhale, and as you exhale, bend your knees again. And feet on the floor. Okay, not too close to your bum, and hip distance apart. So I'd like to do a very interesting and bizarre movement with you, and Yochai's going to show how to do it on the floor. And I'm going to show how to lie on the ground, and I'm going to show how to do it sitting down. So for Yochai first, he's going to take the sole of his right foot against his left ankle, let the knee go to the side, and they stay on the ground. Press your right outer foot down so it's like a karate chop. Strong leg, stronger. The outer edge of your foot, that's your ankle. Lift your ankle off the ground. There. Feel the difference? A little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to ask that you please, if you can do this movement at home, it's a really good one. It's a sacroiliac stabilizer. So you're going to curl the tailbone towards the navel as you exhale. That's inhale. Now curl the tailbone the other direction. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. That's all you're going to do for now. He's going to stay that way. I'll just show what it looks like when you're sitting up, and maybe another day we'll get an opportunity to describe this particular pose. But this is what we're both doing. I'll follow with him. Inhale, pelvic tilts forward. Exhale, pelvic tilts back. And then two more. Inhaling and exhaling. Go at your own pace. Now, on the next inhalation, you'll come to neutral. Place your left fingertip on your left hip, Yochai, please. And I'm going to put mine on my left hip. Now, push into your left foot, lift your left hip bone up, and move it to the right. Now, that's your right one too. So lift it up here and over to the side. This knee stays. It's a kind of a complicated one, but it's really healthy. Exhale down. Confusing? Inhale, lift, and exhale to the side. There's two pieces there. All right? Inhale, lift and over. Keep your left knee up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. How are you doing? Once you get the rhythm of it, it actually feels delish. And basically both of us are doing a very similar thing. And we're working with the legs, and one is in internal rotation, one is in external rotation. Of course, both of the legs have the same muscles on either side. And by doing this in particular, if you can manage to get into this pose, either this way or this way, it's so healthy and releases the psoas in the back of the body. The psoas is the large muscle that connects your lower back to your hips, to your thigh bone. Let's come to neutral. Take a pause. Relax your hands. Inhale, bring your right knee back to center. Good. You should feel a difference. Left foot against the right. And I'll just switch quickly. Make sure that your right knee stays pointed up so it doesn't go to the side, doesn't go inwards. Now, without moving your legs, you're going to inhale, curve in the spine. Exhale, tailbone to the navel. There you go. So we're going to both do the same movement. Pelvic tilts. Pelvic tilts, I find, are the most healthy movement. You'll find them in all your yoga postures. It's just figuring out when you tilt the pelvis, the spine gets more length, more space. Your pelvic floor gets more wide, more grounded. There's a couple more. Curl the tailbone. All right. Good. When your next inhale comes, come to neutral. Bring your right fingertip on your right hip bone, and I'll put my hand. Now lift the right hip gently up and then to the left. Good. And then exhale down. So you got it. You keep going on your own. Sometimes if you think more is better, in this case, it's not. More is better only when there's diamonds involved. And this is true. So this movement should be very subtle. So very gentle. Whichever position you've taken it, lying on the back or sitting up like I am. A couple more breaths, breathing in, breathing out. And then after the last one, good job. He's moving very subtly, very small movements. Come to neutral, press your right foot down, relax your hand down. Inhale your left knee to center. Good job. Feel for a moment. Everybody just feel, because you want to know what you're doing. This relationship that you're creating and maintaining with your body you're doing things with your body, doing things to your body. So see, is this a good effect for you? Is this painful? Is it uncomfortable? Are you hurting yourself? Or is it good for you? Okay. We're going to do just a couple more things with the upper body. I'm going to ask that you keep a curve in your lower back by moving your pubic bone forward towards the front of your mat. That curve stays there, but now bring your abdominal muscles down gently without losing the curve. Okay? Legs stay steady as if you're holding a block, pressing the feet gently. Nice job. Inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Exhale, take your arms back behind you. All the way to the ground, if you can do so without any pain in your shoulders. Inhale up. This is mostly for your lower back. Exhale, palms, hands down. So let's do 3 of those, Yochai, at your own pace. This is mostly for the lower back, but you'll notice that when you raise your arms, you're actually able to elongate even more out of the lower back all the way up to your upper back, even releasing a lot into the neck area. So one more time as you come down with your arms, exhale. And then the last one, inhale, take the arms straight over the shoulders. Turn the palms forward, arms over the shoulders, towards the ceiling, upwards, up. It's okay. Palms forward. And exhale, take your elbows to the floor. Bend them. There you go. Keep your curve, keep your abs. Exhale, take the back of your hand to the floor. And go slow. Just keep them there. So you're going to let this stretch out. If your hands are really far off the ground, there's issues in your shoulders going on. But in general, this will be very much mirroring our joint freeing series. Now, keeping your elbows pressing down. Inhale, bring your palms to the middle. Breathing. Exhale, keep your elbows pressing, your shoulder blades squeezing. Take your fingers slightly forward. Good. Inhale, middle. Exhale, back. Back and forth with your breathing. So you might ask or wonder, well, this is a lower back class. Why are we doing the shoulders? It's because the more space that we create into the whole spine, the more freedom you will have, the more energy. This is the line of the energy channel of the spine itself. Start to alternate your arms with your breath. You're still breathing in, breathing out. But now we're again, like we did perhaps in the joint freeing series, you might have noticed, we're going to confuse the brain a little bit. We're using right and left sides. And you're breathing with your movement. Now get your arms in sync again as you inhale, whenever, and exhale. And as you inhale, so your arms continue to move as your head gently turns. Inhale, look in the middle. Exhale, turn to the left. And if you're getting uncoordinated about this, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. The more you practice it, the more your brain will just get a few more neurotransmitters there. Just breathing. Alternate your arms now as you're moving your head. Now let's say you have a neck problem. Yochai told me he had a little bit of a neck issue, so you can see he's being very gentle. You could skip the head turning. Okay? You try the best you can to keep a right angle in your arms, and then let's finish it up so your neck doesn't get overstressed. Inhale in the middle. Pause. Take your arms straight to the sky. Pull your shoulder blades into the spine. Keep the curve in your lower back. Bring your tummy muscles in. And with your exhale, take your arms back behind you. All the way towards the floor if that feels appropriate. Good. Keep your arms there. And now separate your feet as wide as your mat. Your feet will be able to feel that. Exhale, take your knees to the right. And you would listen to your body, again, listening, is this too far? Is this creating a problem for me? Or is this just right? We're pretty good there? Okay. Inhale, knees to the middle. Exhale, knees to the left. And you breathe a couple of times, stay there for a little couple of breaths. You would engage your feet, again, so you might pull your toes gently backwards. Good, and that keeps you safe in your joints, your knee, your hips. And now, they're called the windshield wipers. Let's make them look like windshield wipers. Inhale for 5, move with your breath. Exhale for 5. This is a very gentle twist. Very gentle, also works in the hips. And you can see perhaps why it's called the windshield wipers. Sometimes giving English names to poses that are sometimes expressed in Sanskrit are good because you can remember them and use them when you need them. Yeah, we're going to finish this one up whenever you're ready. Finish both right and left side, please. He's really breathing steady, and I can hear his breathing. He's having a relationship with his breath, and I think I am too. Exhale the last side to the left. And then inhale, come to middle whenever your breath comes. And pause. And feel. Take your arms back up. And as you exhale, bring them down to the sides. Palms up. So we call this next pose Shavasana, the corpse pose, as if the body were completely relaxed. Yeah, and straightening the legs. So let's do a little bit more. I'm going to help just a tad here. I'm going to take his shoulder blades and pull them in towards his spine and externally rotate his arms a little bit more than they were. And as soon as you notice that you can do this movement, there's so much more liberation in the whole spine, lower, upper back, and the neck as well. Now, for the first few moments, we're just here for a little bit longer. I'm going to ask that you stay with your breath. Stay with that relationship that you've cultivated right now. Being able to cultivate in the middle of something very difficult is to be able to hold pain and sorrow as much as you can hold joy and happiness. When things are great, you'll have that ability to navigate skillfully, even when things are not so great or better. Breathing gently straight down into the heart as you inhale and exhale. Let your body soften. Let your attention move inwards to the spaces that you've created. What do you want to fill that space with? What's needed? Let's shift out of those habits and patterns that don't serve us. Make space in the body and fill that space up with goodness, compassion, forgiveness, and love. I'm going to leave you here in this pose, so do rest for a little bit longer. You can do this series over again when you have an opportunity. Thank you very much for coming to our therapeutic practice. I hope to see you again. Namaste.